Welcome everyone to Mostly Laughter, Some Slaughter. Is going to be the eschaton, but first we're going to do some stuff with Axon Punk, some community building stuff. Should be
Yeah,
cool.
should be exciting. Yes. So, for those of you who have not been watching for a while or have not been paying attention to anything I say, probably a good choice. Uh, I am planning a bunch of one shots that I want to run on the channel. One of them is a game called Axon Punk Overdrive. I'm I'm debating whether I want to still use this system. I've had some problems with it, but I definitely want to run some kind of cyberpunk-ish game because I love the genre. Um, I played both cyberpunk and Shadowrun growing up. Like that and D&D were my really formative role-playing experiences. So I want to do it again.
And I
Uh,
think at the very least we should probably keep the communities we built because they're pretty
yes,
cool. Yeah.
exactly. Now, we had an offline community building thing. One of the things that Axon Punk Overdrive really emphasizes is the community of the characters. Uh, Chris, Jason, Brad, and I did some of their community building offline. Came up with some really great stuff, but we didn't have Leo. We don't have Jason this week, unfortunately, either. He's off doing something else.
Yeah, it's job issues. Don't worry about it too bad. He'll be back next week.
Exactly. But I wanted to do this community building with Leo. Um, because I want to have everybody to have a chance to do it. I want everybody to have be part of the community and have buy-in because the community is where all of the motivation from the characters come from in this setting, and that was one of the things that I really like about it. So, can everybody see the new communities handout?
Yes.
Indeed.
Okay. So, excuse me. And everybody can edit it. Good. So what we did last time, we're going to try and do this again. What we did was, okay, so here's how the process works. Each one of us chooses a kind of community, and the kinds are listed in the handout here. There's a resource generator, culture amplifier, dealer, faith source, whole. We choose one of those kinds of communities, or one of those kinds. These are locations. The phrase they use in the book is joints, but these are places in the community. Each of us chooses a kind of place, and we decide, okay, exactly what kind of resource generator is it? Exactly what kind of dealer is it? Exactly what kind of whole is it? There's 3 rules. Make it contemporary, so have it tied to something that we can understand now in 2018. Make it cyber, have it do something that's futuristic and way out there. Make it punk. Make it non-heteronormative, non-white. To make it something that is anti-establishment. I have an example done, and I'll define what the kinds are in a minute, but I have an example down here that we came up with last time. So the name of the place is the Dropped Packet. Brad is actually the one who came up with the idea originally. It is a hole. So a hole is a location in the community that still serves a purpose, but is mostly a magnet for trouble. So this is a place, I believe when you described it, Brad, it was like, at first it was a place where people came to pick up prostitutes or do sex work. Then it became a place to like deal and sell drugs. And then it became a place for like meeting, and I put down, or I think you put down community
organizing. Yeah, I mean, it used to be everything at different times.
And then, exactly. And so now it's kind of like there are people who go there to pick up sex workers. There are people who go here to do drugs. There are people who go here to communitize. It's sort of a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So it's the grimdark version of Cheers.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of.
Although, actually, yeah, thinking about it more, I sort of want to add that it's also a squat.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, I will show everybody this quickly. I found this picture online And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this is the dropped packet. So
Nice.
it's not just like a single building. It's sort of a square. It's sort of a market.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yippers.
So Brad, and then what we did next is we passed it to the left. So with the order that we had it, that we were doing it the last time, Brad's joint got passed to me next. And then the next thing we do is that the person who gets somebody gets somebody else's location and they make up an NPC for that location. So I'm the one who contributed Dante. He's cyberized. He's a local dealer in chems and sex work. He's an ex-sex worker himself. He's an ex-porn star. He's cyberized. He is both the deal maker and the muscle. And then we passed it to the left again, and it actually went to Jason, and then Jason's the one who contributed the trouble. So each location has a kind, a description, a local NPC who's linked to it, and a trouble, so an ongoing issue that location has. Jason's the one who contributed insiders and undercovers. There is at least one undercover cop who's going crooked, and at least one undercover mobster who's going soft, who's casing or working, in the dropped packet. So, yeah. The way that we did it last. Yep.
Leo, we lost your image. You're still there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So there. Okay.
We'll go back.
Yeah, I see you now. I see you anyway.
Sorry.
No problem.
So that was long-winded. Does that make sense, Leo?
Yes, you add kind of like a little different than Remember Tomorrow, where everyone gets to decide a little bit of everything regarding, which I think is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and it's very similar. When you mentioned Remember Tomorrow earlier, I was like, oh yeah, this is what this reminds me of. So the way that we did it before, this handout is editable by everybody. So what we did before is we each chose a kind, and came up with the beginnings of the location. Generally, we would type it out in chat just to make it easier, but you can do it wherever. And then once you've got it typed out, one by one, we would add it to the handout.
Got it.
And then once it gets past left, we would do the same thing except for the NPC. And then once we had and then one by one, we would go through it. Here's the NPC, and we would add it to the handout. So at the end, we've got everything written down in one place. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Should we do it that way again?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
How many more of these things are we creating though? Like 2 or 3?
Yeah, we do one each.
Okay.
And
So I create one, basically, is what you're trying to say.
well, what I was thinking is we would again do, like each of us would do one and go through the whole process.
Oh,
and
okay.
That way, at the end, we're going to have, I think, 8 in total.
Yep.
And then I can...
Okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking 8 in total because we've got another 4 that we created previously. And then that way, each of us has at least one thing in the community that we have contributed to. Okay, so and just to really quickly explain the kinds, resource generator. This is something that creates, that generates and creates a resource that the community needs. So the example that they have in the book is a I can't remember what they call it. It's a gigantic like high-tech greenhouse where they create a bunch of the plants and soy and whatever that feeds the community. culture amplifier. These are usually clubs, but it can be anything where people gather to enjoy themselves, hang out, meet and greet. Dealer, somebody who buys and sells things. Faith source. This can be religious, or it can be anything that is a place that generates a certain amount of goodwill or guidance for the community. So, faith center, drop-in center, whatever.
Ooh, I want to. Ooh, faith source.
Yeah,
we
I have an
need
idea.
a cult.
yeah, could be. Hey, if it adds to the community, it could be a cult for sure.
Okay.
And a hole is generally a meeting place, but it can be anything that is a source of trouble for the community. It's generally. Hang on, let me actually get the description for hole here. Because honestly, it's the one that sort of confuses me the most.
It's a culture amplifier, only more fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a bad way of describing it. Yeah, a place where bad things happen. These locations embody trouble more than any other. Gang hive, drug production facility, organ harvester's chop shop. So it can actually be sort of like any of the others, except more fun. All right. Does everybody know what they want to pick? What they want to create?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Well,
Leo's
okay,
got-
yeah, I want to hear
I don't know
Leo's
if
first.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know if it fits the faith thing.
Hey, go for it. I mean, the example that they have in the book is the United Church of Tupac. So,
Not United Church of Tupac.
United Church of Tupac. Tupac is
Tupac.
taken up as a martyr.
Nice.
It's kind of awesome. All right. We can either talk out or type up, however we want to do.
The
Yeah.
sorry. Well, I don't want to step on anyone's toes if everyone has an idea, but I think
Is it-
Well, yeah, but the rest of us have already created a thing. So,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we're going into a second. So feel free to
Leo's?
carve out
Okay.
whatever territory you want, and yeah, we'll
Absolutely, yeah.
all right.
work with it.
The faith source, I'm gonna call them AIL. Anime is life,
Ooh. Okay.
and they are a kind of a vigilante hacker group.
Okay. Okay.
But they cosplay. The way you can tell them different from everybody else, they cosplay as their favorite anime character, and they go around stopping crime for the good of the community, and that's their belief, because that's what their anime characters want them to do in this futuristic age. That there's not enough Naruto's or Supermans or whatever. They basically worship any like comic books, anything have to do with superhero type of thing, like vigilantes. But they like arrest people, and their thing is like we worship these ideas that seem to be lost in this time.
That's very cool.
I love it. I love it. Do you want to edit the new community handout and sort of write that out?
Well, I noticed that there are two community handouts. One's new communities, one's community creation. Community creation actually has all of them so far.
Yeah. I was going to put it in new communities, but we could also do it in community creation. I think either one is working.
If you want to, yeah, I'm no good at spelling, so go ahead. I'm not a fast typer. Sorry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to grab it.
Are you gonna- okay.
I'll take care of that. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine.
I just don't want
Anime.
to sit here all day. Like I'd have to go to Google Dictionary and look up all the words. Like, how do you spell?
I Yeah.
Horrible speller. That's why my book is taking forever to write because I'm like making sure. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I
Activist.
feel sorry for my editor. He's gonna be probably like, "That's the wrong witch."
Which do you
I
mean?
was hungry.
Oh. Activist vigilante group.
Okay.
That patrol and
Good. I don't know, Leo. When I hear your thing, you know, my first response is,
Mm.
Leo, have you ever seen Revolutionary Girl Utena?
Yes.
I hear the phrases. They go up the stairs, crack the world shell.
Yes. 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 That one. It's from a famous book. I know that. Like, we are chicks in an egg, and in order to be born, we must crack the shell. The
Wow.
egg is the world. We are the chick. We must for the revolution of the world. That's really good.
We must crack the world.
Crack
Yeah.
the world shell. Dun dun dun. Yeah.
Yep.
Cosplay.
It's a really good idiom because, like, yeah, you have to destroy one world to go to the next.
To make a better world. And you can play this as friendly or as unfriendly as you want within the base paradigm. No, Leo, it's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, because there's obviously going to be people in the organization that are not good people.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know,
And spread deals of their.
or either that, they're just not taken seriously.
oh, absolutely. Like another good anime crib from heavily is, of course, One Punch Man, where you have all these people basically trying to figure out where their location is because, you know, as soon as you get a bunch of people together, you get pecking orders, and especially when you're trying to basically, even if you are trying to clean up the place, I'm sure everybody's going, well, that's my street. No, that's my street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You know.
how's that for a good write-up, Leo? I've got it
where's
under
that?
community creation.
Okay. Enemy's life, they individually save, cosplay, figured out characters, spread that views, and figured out enemies. Yep. That's exactly on the money. Well, I mean, the obvious conflict is that Chris, don't you know Naruto's the best? Wait, don't you
Yeah.
think Naruto's better than Naruto? It's like, that's a travesty. Superman is obviously stronger than Goku. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, if you don't want to cause a war, you don't bring up Macross or Robotech. I'm just saying.
No.
Take nerd violence to another level.
Does anybody else have a joint that they want to make? I'm working on one myself right now.
Okay, what? Brad, go if you want. Otherwise, I'm ready to go when my turn is. I just came with a crazy idea.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
So my idea is a resource generator called the New Green, and they're all about aeroponics as opposed to hydroponics and like vertical agriculture, and they probably have like a CRISPR machine to like modify their crops like directly. So they both are into feeding the community and creating new stuff, including drugs. But that's sort of a side project. Not like they're not a dealer. They just, you know, some of them like to partake, some of them don't.
They're the source. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
I
You wanna
like
write
it.
that up?
It's got a great visual too. Like you think about it, one of those scaffolding areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would look like my depiction of it visually, from what your description would be, is like um, the botanical gardens kind of gone wrong a little bit. Like, where they have like all these plants just everywhere, and there's like people going in and out that doing their own like experiments with plants. You say they're like, are they
Interesting.
scientists in a sense where they're like experimenting with these plants and how to make production faster, or are
yeah.
they?
I think that they probably do have like more than one person who was at least who has a PhD, holds a PhD, but they're kind of everybody there is kind of fringe. Like the people who do have who uh, our PhDs are no longer part of uh, that medical community. They become part of uh, this more urban street level organizing community.
I like it, and
Yeah.
you could have so much fun, especially with that here. Especially if you do like different levels with different plants on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one giant R&D factory, but it's also probably has to make a minimum amount of profit over time. Cool idea.
Nice. Did you want to write that up in the
Yeah.
community?
Yeah.
Awesome. And so that is a resource center. Cool.
Sorry about that, guys. For some reason, my camera keeps dying on me.
Darn it.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. It's probably gonna hop everybody around. Oh. Yeah, it did.
Did it hop everybody around?
It did. Let me see if I can.
Gotta fix it on the fly. Sorry.
I never deal with interface stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our special hint for today, folks: never deal with interface stuff on the fly.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Unless you're me and have to, which happens a lot.
Yeah. There you
Fair
go.
enough.
I am often me.
Yeah.
Well, good. It's probably better than not being.
Yeah. Better to be yourself than somebody else.
Fair enough.
The new green, so it's mostly
Okay. So yeah, I was typing that. Let me and then got distracted on fixing the the thing. Okay. So that first thing I said,
aeroponics.
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 Yeah, robotics. Yeah.
Which is an interesting and fascinating. It's funny how abandoned buildings, if you think about it, would make very good greenhouses.
Yeah. So is it like an old? So like Joe said, is it an abandoned building? Is it or was it like an old greenhouse, like part of a like I said, garden of the gods type of thing, where it's like where they have different plants there, or was it like a laboratory that was just taken over by, or?
I'm thinking more abandoned building.
No, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's just been reworked for their purposes.
Are we talking like a 2 to 3 story building, or are we talking?
Yeah, totally.
Ooh.
Well, okay. like 3 to 4 story.
3 to 4 sounds. Yeah, I like it.
That's
I like
really interesting. Because I also did a resource generator, so that should be really interesting to see how that goes. I still think when it comes to resource generators, like just for sheer creativity, Jason's one that he did was brilliant. A series of chemical toilets where the waste is collected and like harvest for methane
Mm-hmm.
to supplement the loss of fossil fuels. Like that's awesome.
I'm not disagreeing.
Also disgusting, but
Also disgusting.
Okay. It is saved, so if so it won't be lost in multiple version editing.
Excellent.
Fair enough.
Chris, are you ready? Or because I've
I
got
am
mine.
indeed.
Wait,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. I'll let you go, Joe. Go on.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm calling mine the Font. It is also a resource generator. It is a business that it's a greenhouse and mushroom farm. Actually, I'm thinking it might be mostly a mushroom farm. Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm going to say mushroom farm. It's run out of a corporate-owned water filtration plant.
Whether it's like does this corporation know about it?
Yeah. Well, definitely the uppers of the corporation do not know about it. Whether the local people know it or not, we can argue that as we look at the troubles. But their mushroom out of corporate or the water filtration plant. They use the latest strains of genetically altered foods. So what they're trying to do is basically get everybody eating mushrooms. So there's sort of the new wave, abandoned meat, abandoned soy, abandoned protein, just mushrooms. Mushrooms have everything you need. I can grow you a mushroom that tastes as good as a beefsteak and gives you twice as much protein and none of the fat. And they're a resource generator, but they're probably also an aggressive like marketing company as well. They're trying to like get into a new market.
Okay, I think I just thought of your catchphrase. More shrooms, less gloom.
Ooh, I like it. More shroom, less gloom.
And your mascot is a horrible knockoff of Mario.
Which
or Toad.
or Toad, which offends the fuck out of the anime as life people.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like, that's Mario!
That's ours. You
That's
can't have
copyright
him.
infringement.
Hey, we've been using Giuseppe for decades now, buddy.
Next thing you're going to tell us is that rice cakes are jelly donuts.
No, that's silly.
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever had a mushroom jelly donut?
That's true. I have not.
And once you did, would you ever go back?
Yeah, not if you have it from the font. Oh, awesome, Chris.
Okay. Must be something in the air today because I have another resource generator, but I think it's different enough that we'll be able to do it.
Okay.
I will present to you my basic idea. It's Granny Nully's old-time robotics factory. Basically, it's a resource generator. It's symbolized by a green kiwi. It's a last-generation robotics factory, but sells for cheap and is able to stay in the market here. Kind of goes for the idea of mass production over minimum things. In particular, it specializes in cheap AIs and drones and works in volume.
Nice.
So,
Nice. I like
plus
it.
gives you a corporate figure. You can have kind of a throwback, but not a throwback here. Granny Nully is of an indeterminate ethnicity just to make things more interesting, and that way we can click her as we need it. But she's just known as Granny, and she may or may not be an icon or based on a real person. I'll let us decide later in next round.
Yep. That's awesome, man. Cool.
Yep.
Do you want to put that into the handout?
I will do so immediately.
Okay.
Okay, so now we shift one and each make a NPC for.
Exactly. And I think the way we did it last time is we did it in order that it was written down. So because Leo went first, Leo's would shift to the left, so it would go to Chris because he went last.
Okay.
That sounding right?
That sounds right. Who am I doing here?
So you are doing an NPC for Leo. Leo, you are doing an NPC for Brad. Brad, you're doing an NPC for me, and I'm doing an NPC for Chris.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Everybody, I'm.
Okay, I'm saved. I should be good to go.
Okay, cool.
I got it.
NPC does not have to have stats or even a class, but definitely should have enough of a description that we have an idea of like who they are, and they should be attached to the joint. So I'm going to be making a joint that's attached to the Granny Nelly Old Time Robotics Factory.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, let me know when you're ready and I will go. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to. Oh, perfect. I'm trying to get the. That's the one. Okay.
Okay.
And of course, when you're creating the NPCs, if you can come up with, plot hooks, distinguishing features, anything like that, always a help.
Okay. So for Anime is Life, I've come up with one of my favorite real life people, and I've kind of reskinned him a little bit in order to try to see what comes out there.
Uh-huh.
His name is Yogurt Casablanca.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
He is a diehard fan. He's getting on in years. He's about a senior level character, a senior citizen.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a diehard fan of the late 90s anime freak. Carries a pair of silver guns with a big ass sword on his back. His costume is 2 sizes too small. He's a loudhouse and a braggart, and thinks he has a lot more power than he actually does.
Nice.
Nice.
I like it.
What was his name?
Here, I'll post in the chat. Yogurt Casablanca.
Yogurt Casablanca.
Nice.
Awesome. Post it in.
Okay, will do.
So I got mine. So since he mentioned weed, I'm going to have horror bread. The New Green is funded by a large group of rappers
Mm-hmm.
who are kind of like form of entity of basically like shareholders of this hydroponic thing, and they're the ones that partake in the weed. They grow it for their personal consumption. They don't want to sell, like he said. It's more for them, not for everybody else. But some slip through the cracks, and I think the spokesman of this group or the CEO is called the Dog.
Nice.
Which is based off of Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, and everybody like, yeah, yo, dog, what should we do? And that's just his name. Whether or not that's his real name or not, but the leader of this group is known as the Dog.
Awesome.
And it was like, yo, dog, what's up, fool? Yeah, dog, let's do this. that's basically how they. And very loose, very carefree group leader there. So smokes a lot of weed and raps. So they put that in, I guess. If I spell anything wrong, just let me know.
You got it.
So yeah, while you're working on that, let me kind of outline what I was thinking of for at least a person at the font. Maybe not the leader.
Okay.
But certainly influential. An AI named Harvard West that was part of, was created by the corporation that they're working out of, but is now but has kind of gone rogue. And just has cameras everywhere throughout the building. Has sort of a sort of a HAL 9000 voice, and that kind of that scary feel, but Harvard enjoys working with humans.
I like it. I like it. Oh, that's gonna be cool. And that makes sense. That's probably how they're able to get away with like growing this mushroom farm in this water plant. It's like Harvard is
all
constantly...
the records are constantly updated to make sure that the wrong people don't find out.
Does Harvard refer to himself or themselves in the third person?
Ooh, I like that.
Harvard enjoys working with humans.
And he's got to have an upper-class Eastern U.S. accent.
Yeah, especially to be, more a greater contrast with the green.
Oh, for sure. Harvard. Harvard's happy that you've managed to get that last batch of mushrooms sold. Harvard really does wish that you'd be more careful when you deliver the mushrooms, though. Harvard can't hide your traces from the corporation forever.
Okay, that's a certain level of awesome.
It is. It's also just, I'm like, I would constantly be worried that Harvard was going to, like, go crazy and murder people. I don't know.
Well, I think there's, like, that tension there, even if it never, ever happens.
Yeah, but you're right, there's definitely that tension there that, ooh, could this happen? I don't know.
First of all,
they love
hot dictates.
Hey, Brad, you could take a look at what I put in there, see if that's about right. If you want to add anything, feel free.
That's good.
I like it. I'll pop out mine here. Walt. Walt is a sales rep for Granny Null. He's the one who is out there pounding the pavement and getting people interested in these great new refurbished robotics. Do you want something that could clean your home? Do you want something that could guard your loved ones at night? Look no further than Granny Null. Sleazy, self-involved. He's sort of the ultimate creepy salesman. But remarkably useful. He's got his ear to the ground quite a bit. Always has one eye out for deals and another eye out for his boss, because he's definitely got a lot of stuff going on the side that his boss, whoever his boss is, does not know about.
Exactly. That actually has a lot of element, plus it has a bit of the trouble, which actually flows well into the next segment.
And also, don't. Anytime anybody asks him about Granny, he's like, don't ask about Granny.
In fact, let's make that a running gag. Nobody's seen Granny, and you're not sure, but you think she might be based on a real person. And if you ever hear the words Granny's coming, everybody in the community freaks.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I like it, yeah.
Let the imagination build up this weird thing, almost like Chuck Norris jokes.
Yep. I've heard Granny's coming.
What is it, that movie where Psycho. You know, when the first part of that movie, Granny would only talk to him and in the third, and people thought in the movie that it was like third person, she comes over the speakers,
Okay, saved. Sorry.
She comes over the speakers and is like, hey, our production's down. Hurry up down there, and you only hear her or without seeing her. That'd be cool.
I like that. You do. Nobody's seen Granny, but you hear her.
Yes.
I like that.
And again, it gives you a plot hook to do whatever you darn well please. Is it some crazy old lady? Is it somebody full conversion Borg? Is it an AI? Or is it like somebody dressed up totally different than you expect? We don't know. That's you.
Yeah.
It's Howard's mom.
Or is it Walt sitting up in the office dressed up as Granny?
Yeah, exactly.
He's lost his goddamn mind.
Granny died 15 years ago. I'm just trying to keep this place running.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it. All right. So the next thing we do is we pass it one to the left again. So here's where it gets confusing. Chris, you get the new green. Leo, you get the font. Brad, you get Granny Nully, and I get Anime is Life.
Ooh.
And what we're doing next is we're coming up with a trouble. So this is an ongoing issue that this location has. Some examples are it's haunted by an AI. It's actually it's a great place, but there's a toxic atmosphere. Possibly emotionally toxic, sometimes literally toxic. The mafia secretly owns it. It's a front for something else. There are guilty by affiliation. There's the place isn't actually associated with anybody, but for some reason there's a particular group of people that always hangs around in this place. Or anything that you can think of to anything that is would take more than just one adventure to solve.
Okay.
I don't want to step on your toes.
If you have a thing.
That is okay.
Whether or not they know or understand what's going on, some of the batches of the mushrooms that they have made have become sentient.
Ooh.
And start talking to them. Whether or not they're tripping their ass off or they're actually sentient beings that are mushrooms is up in the air.
It's up in the air.
But they're questioning whether or not they should continue eating mushrooms and if word gets out, of course, the problem is like, should we continue eating mushrooms? It could be a live living creature, like the whole reason why they're eating mushrooms, right? It's because non-living creature. So that's my thing.
I like that.
You want to? I don't know about that. Or wow, to first get that going. Is that too much or no?
No, it sounds great.
Sounds corny.
Dude, you're allowed to have ham in this game.
Absolutely. Could somebody type that up? I'm just working on my trouble for the Anime is Life.
Here, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So when do you think it happened? Like, when did this start happening anyway?
I say recently. Probably basically people don't know about it yet. It's just something that has appeared to them. Only the company knows yet right now. Yeah. People like in the higher echelon, probably the leader, whoever that. He definitely knows.
How's this? About a week ago, the Spore started talking to employees. Is it a hallucination? Is it a new Spore intelligence? And what will it do to our quarterly profits?
Sounds good.
I like it.
Okay, adding now. One moment. Okay, I'm clear.
Very nice. Okay, who else has the trouble ready?
Well, okay.
Go ahead.
Go for it. No. Okay, cool. Okay, this one I actually kind of need help with here because I'm seeing a little bit of overlap between the inked and the new green. So I'm kind of working out the situation here. One of my concepts is I want to start a small gang around the area called the Sprouts.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm trying, like, I don't want to cross over to plant intelligence just yet.
Okay.
So I'm thinking experimentation into. Basically, they've been grabbing some of the plants and basically experimenting at a low-level biological warfare level within the community.
Okay.
You know, they're doing some. I'm just not quite sure where I want to go with it yet, though.
So they're
okay.
they're
Yeah. So
ahead, Brad.
they're a street gang that's associated with the New Green. That some of the products that they use from them makes them, you know, extra dangerous in some fashion. Is that where you're going with
that's
it?
kind of what I'm going with here. Just kind of an idea that, like, when you see those green jackets show up, you know you're in trouble or something's going to happen. I'm just trying to, like, my original concept was essentially an entire gang of poison ivies.
Yeah, my thinking was either they've weaponized some plant-based drug so that it makes them like bigger, stronger, faster, or they've weaponized some plant pheromone to act as a sort of chemical warfare.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, you specifically mentioned poison ivy. Maybe they've like, you know, biohacked themselves such that their touch is poisonous.
Yeah, I like that. Wait, didn't turn the phone off. No, I like that idea of the use of the poison and toxins here to. I'll figure it out later. Chemical warfare plus their
stuff would be a nice touch.
Was that Leo?
Definitely, poison ivy would be an awesome mascot for their group.
Yeah, for sure.
Has poison ivy on the back of their jackets.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, kind of like that old 40s cheesecake cross reference with Cyberpunk. I like that.
Yeah. Yep. The thorns, I know you said the sprouts, but I was thinking the thorns, the ivy. You could be really nerdy and call them the treants. Or just the ents.
I kind of like the sprouts though.
Kind of like the sprouts.
Yeah, because it sounds sort of innocuous, but it's really not.
It's not.
Okay.
I'm down with that.
Okay.
Something that they would kind of be made fun of, but people wouldn't do it to their face. Type of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's the same thing with like Joker gangs where you have, yeah, you guys are dressed as clowns, but you're kind of terrifying, so therefore we'll let you pass.
Brad, I think it's you and me. Who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that the trouble with Granny Nully is that the the company behind them has ties to the both the intelligence community and the uh, and the military-industrial complex. It's like they're a spin-off from Lockheed Martin, but they have a bunch of spooks. Um, but they and that aspect of it doesn't like present itself. It's like way on the back burner, the but they're there. They're bad news. And if and they have an agenda, you know.
I like it, and they definitely want to control what's going on to some level.
Ooh, that could make Granny XC. Every time we talk about this group, Granny becomes more badass now. You know, like,
I know, right?
Like ex-CIA, ex-Green Beret, ex-Special Forces. Like,
Yep.
Granny's the shit. Like,
Oh, Granny.
Ooh.
Granny is freaking what's her face from the Spirit of 77 game. I can't remember her name now, but the one who was riding with the
the one that did Saw, not
yeah. That's
the Rose, the really good biker game, the
Yeah.
gang that I came out with.
yeah, exactly. This is her in the future. This is her after like all the horrible shit went down and the world went to hell. This is her like still trying to run a business.
That would be interesting.
Nice. That's got a lot of potential for it's got a lot of potential.
What's her name? Jesus. Did you delete that one, by the way?
Which one? The Spirit of 77?
Yeah, the game.
No, I still got it.
How come I'm not in there?
That's weird. Hey, let me check.
Anyways.
Okay. So put company
Maybe
that's
just have
spin
to
off
touch
from Lockheed Martin and the intelligence community. They have an agenda, but what is it?
Whatever the DM decides that week.
That's cool.
Call it. What did I call it? Huh. Oh. Yeah, I think why is because we ran that under Funkadelic Frankenstein, the Red Scare.
Ah.
I think
Oh,
that's...
there it is. Yeah. I found it. Yeah.
And...
I got it. Virginia Green. Yeah, that's her name.
Excellent. All right, so I'll X out of that. Awesome. All right, and for the Anime is Life group, I'm calling it the Fractured Butthole.
Ooh.
There's a
No!
You know, there's some South Park lovers in that group. There is a splinter group in Anime is Life who wants to start dealing in illegal sims of the old anime to make money. So far, it's only talk, but there are a batch of sims ready to go. If only those old fuddy-duddies decide to get the hell out of the way and let us do our business.
I like it.
All right. So there you go. We've just created 4 community joints for places, organizations that are in the community. So yeah. Whew. Thank you, folks.
No problem.
That was fun.
I know this wouldn't exist, but Virginia Green is really Granny is really the leader of the Sprouts, the motorcycle gang.
Here's my opinion. All these rumors are true, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Dude, that's the thing about Granny Dully. She's a boogie woman like the Batman. She always appears like everybody has 1,001 stories about her, and we're not sure which one's actually true.
Boogeyman of the community. I like it. All right. Well, thank you. I'm gonna pop out of that now and pop on over to.
And way belatedly, I remembered the name of the other cyberpunk game that I was failing to remember the name of, which is The Veil by Fraser Simons.
Okay.
Veil.
The Veil. Never heard of that one.
It's
Powered by the
pretty-
Apocalypse.
Yeah, it is powered by the apocalypse. It's another. It's interesting in that you can play. It does have a thing where you can play an AI like Axon Punk does. And rather than stats, it has like emotions. And if you play on any one emotion too long, it works against you. So it's best to like keep rotating through. There's a lot of cool stuff in it, and it's got some really neat playbooks.
Very cool. All right, thank you. All kinds of fun possibilities coming soon to a streaming channel near you.
Yeah. I like how we made Granny this like badass character without even thinking about it.
Yep.
It really like it's one of those old moniker was like some legends are based on fact. Like you do not want to mess with Granny, you know?
Nope. When legend becomes fact, print the legend.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
You
Yeah,
taking it before we hit Excaton, or do you guys want to go right?
Well, okay, yeah. Do we want to go right into it, or do we want to take a? I mean, it's a little bit early to take a break, but it's sort of a sensible place to take it.
How's everybody feeling? I can kind of go either way.
I would like to I had a vote.
What?
If I had a vote, yes, I would like to take a break.
Okay. So
Yeah, well, the thing is, how easy is it for you to switch rooms, Brad?
pretty easy, but let's go ahead and take a break.
Okay, cool.
So, we will be back shortly. Please do stick around. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go find the second half of it and watch it because it'll be cool. And it'll
awesome.
actually be the Eschaton rather than advertising as such.
It'll be space stuff.
Yeah. But either way, it'll be cool science fiction stuff because we've been doing that throughout.
For sure. For sure.